I'm here with Harm van den Brink, distributed ledger expert at the Iota Foundation. Harm, what is the Iota Foundation?
Yeah, the Iota Foundation is actually the foundation around the Iota protocol. So since beginning of November, we're actually the real foundation based in Germany, a Stiftung. And it's pretty amazing that we are the first foundation that exists in Germany around crypto. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, we're proud about that, for sure.
And what is your role at the foundation?
I'm closely involved with the Iota Foundation. I'm a developer also, so I'm working for Inexus and Elan. And one of the pilots I built, proof of concept, is the Iota charging station. Mm-hmm. It's a charging station running on Iota and Iota alone, so it's fully based on Iota. You can pay via Iota, you can send transactions, data. Everything is shared via the Tangle and the Iota protocol.
You mentioned the Tangle.
Yes.
Can you explain a bit more about how the fundamentals of Iota work?
Okay, yeah, the good thing, it's always funny to say, the Tangle is actually a blockchain without the blocks and the chain. So
you do have to explain that.
No, the Tangle is a way that transactions are actually connected all to each other. So it's not based on blocks or miners. Every transaction you do, we call it. Every transaction you do, you actually validate two previous transactions, and by doing so, you also have to do a bit of proof of work, and then you can add your transaction to the Tangle. Then it becomes, as we call it, a tip, and the tip needs to get picked up by a new transaction, which also validates the transaction you made. So in that way, you actually add transaction after each other, in what we call a directed acyclic graph. It's maybe a difficult term, but it's a way that transactions are pointed to each other in an acyclic way.
And why is this important to have it work like this?
What we wanted to achieve, or what the Iota Foundation wanted to achieve, is that you can do micropayments, you can do fast micropayments, and you can scale it, and without any need for miners. For example, in Bitcoin or Ethereum, you currently need miners to do the proof of work. Mm-hmm. And these miners find blocks every 10 minutes, for example, in Bitcoin. This means that you are limited with the amount of transactions you can have in a block. This also means that you can have like 4 or 5 confirmed transactions in Bitcoin currently. And with Iota, there is no limit actually.
It kind of works like a mesh network where every new node adds to the capacity.
You can think like that, exactly. And every time you do a new transaction, you confirm 2 previous. So the more transactions you do, the more transactions you confirm. So you actually help the network by making transactions, and you don't wait for a block or a miner or whatever, and that scales. And the cool thing is that you don't pay a fee. So if you now, for example, want to buy a coffee with Bitcoin, mm-hmm. A coffee of $2, you pay maybe $5 a fee. So that's an expensive coffee. And with Iota, and that's what we wanted to achieve, this machine-to-machine economy, that you can do micropayments. There is no fee. So, for example, an electric car, autonomous driving electric car, can charge its own battery, buy a charger, and can pay to that charger, machine-to-machine, with Iota, without any fees, directly and fast, and that scales.
And fees are not required because it has to validate the other 2 transactions first, right?
Exactly.
So it's kind of a quid pro quo.
Yeah, the proof of work you do yourself, and it's only for that transaction. So you don't. If you add more proof of work, you add more transactions. So that scales too. So that's why you don't have to pay any fee. Exactly.
Okay. Are there any dead ends in the Tangle where a tip is not being validated?
Yeah, that could happen, of course. That is not picked up, or because it's too old or whatever. And then you can reattach it. So you can reattach the same transaction again, add it as a new tip, and then it could get picked up again.
And does that happen automatically, or do we need
currently, it's not automatically, but everything is still in beta. So the wallet, for example, we're using is still in beta, and you have to program it yourself if you use the API or the library for Iota. But in the future, probably this will happen automatically, and you can actually program it yourself to do it automatically.
Okay. So if I understand it correctly, you've added to the blockchain ecosystem by providing something that is totally different from a blockchain, but does use proof of work.
Mm-hmm.
Is it mostly geared towards Internet of Things applications?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Internet of Things, machine to machine. This is the focus of Iota, and that's why you need scalable, lightweight solutions. The protocol as Iota is kept very lightweight, so you can add modules on top of Iota. We call it the XE modules. Like the MEM, Mask Authentication Messaging. These are models you can build on top of the Iota protocol. So we keep the protocol as lean as possible, as fast as possible for these IoT devices. So you can run it on a Raspberry Pi or even a smaller CPU device.
Let's take a bigger look at the ecosystem. You've been involved with Iota. You've been interested in this space for a bit longer, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
What are your thoughts on how the blockchain ecosystem is developing?
Yeah, I think that's very hard. I think we have to work together, to co-create. I think that's the most important thing in this blockchain ecosystem, that you don't say we are better than the others, but that you work together, co-create, and that you actually, as an ecosystem, work together to bring this further. Because in the end, we all benefit from a better working system. Yeah, my opinion is co-create, work together, make sure it gets better.
What do you think the blockchain hackathon will bring to the ecosystem in that respect?
I hope a lot of energy. I hope that we get developers that are very enthusiastic, intrinsic motivation to build stuff, to work together. Maybe different types of blockchains, connecting things, using the best of both worlds, for example. That's what I would like to see, and develop new applications that actually help society. The sharing economy, the machine-to-machine economy, things like that. That's what I hope to see in these tracks.
Okay. Final question. What would your top tips be for anybody preparing to take part in a hackathon?
Look to the library of Iota if you want to build on Iota. Start building right away, so you can actually, already how it works, the API, the library, everything. And if you need any help, join the Slack of Iota and ask questions, because the community is great. It's a lovely community. Everybody is willing to help. And that's, I think, one of the cool goals of Iota, that this community is really a community. I'm also part of the community. That's why I joined. I like the community. So that's how I got involved and closely connected to the Iota Foundation, because this community is what drives Iota, in my opinion. And that's helping how we can evolve in a better ecosystem, and getting new partners and building new stuff. Because in the end, it's all about building and developing stuff.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cool.